let's say that we were to take the, say we had no seasonality at all. What would the seasonal constant be very close to for all of them? So no seasonality were present. What would we expect the seasonal constant to be for almost all of them? Yeah. How'd you get that? Yeah, so basically just take the number of quarters, and it's going to add to 1. So divide 1 by 4. It's 0.25. Same thing with quarterly, or monthly, I mean. So monthly, divide 1 by 12 gives you like 0.083 repeating. Weekly is going to be just under 0.02. It's going to be like 0.019 something. So does that make sense? Now, based off of this data, which quarter has the highest proportion of revenue? Yeah. Quarter 4, exactly. How'd you get that? Yeah. So, this is saying that 33% of the revenue comes from quarter 4. Okay. 21% of the revenue comes in quarter 1. Does that make sense? All right. So, let's go ahead then and get the naive forecast. This is asking for quarter 1 of 2017, or 2018, I mean. So quarter 1, and let's go ahead and put 2018, just so we don't confuse ourselves. So, what is that value going to be? Looking for the naive forecast for quarter 1, 2018. Yeah. That's exactly correct. As a naive forecast, you take the most recent observation you have. Pass that over to them, please. Thank you. All right. So, that said, let me throw a little monkey wrench into this and say quarter 3, 2014. Okay. What is the naive forecast? Oops, that didn't work. That's okay. Text. Okay. So quarter 3, 2014. What is the naive forecast for that going to be? Yeah. And what's that going to be? What comes before quarter 3, 2014? That's after. Yep. So, give you one as well. Pass this down, please. Thank you. All right. So, for the, where am I at in this thing? Okay, here we go. Sorry about that, guys. So again, just go quarter 3. We're looking for the naive forecast. Just go over to previous quarter. Okay. Even though we have the actual data, that's still going to be the naive forecast for, so it's going to be quarter 2, 2014. Does that make sense? We can have the actual data. That's cool. You still want to get the naive forecast. Seasonal naive forecast for quarter 1, 2018. Let me go ahead and get this shifted over to text so we can put the year. Okay, what are we going to use for this? Which value? Yeah. That's exactly correct. So we're just going to go over to our data, quarter 1, 2017. Okay. So pass that down, please. Thank you. All right. like I said, I'll throw another little, slight little monkey wrench in here. Let's go quarter 4, 2015. Okay. What am I going to use for this? Yeah. Quarter 4, 2014 is exactly correct. You just go back to the same type period from the previous year. So quarter 4, 2014. Great job. Go pass that down to him, please. Thank you. Is this making more sense? All right. Simple moving average for quarter 1. And in fact, I'm just going to go ahead and change all these at once to text. I said I'm going to change them all at once, and then I neglected to do that. Shame on me. All right. So quarter 1, 2018, what are we going to use to calculate the simple moving average of these? Let's say 3-period simple moving average. Who's got it? Yeah. So quarter 2, what else? That's right. So 3 most recent observations from the data point. So it's average, of course, because we're not taking the sum or anything like that. Just average these 3 guys right here. Great job. Really racking up the bonus points there, aren't you? It's okay, you can get as many as you want. Well, as many as I want, as many as you want that I provide. Like I said, no counterfeiting. All right. Let's do one more just to make sure everyone's on the same page with simple moving average. Let's go quarter 3, 2017. So which quarters am I going to use for this average? Who can tell me that? That's exactly correct. Just go to the previous 3 quarters. Pass that over to him, please. Thank you. All right. Now, get bonus points for this. I'm feeling pretty generous today. We want to get 3 weights. Weight 1, weight 2, and weight 3. Someone give me 3 weights that'll work. 3 weights that are going to satisfy the rules of weights for weighted moving average. Yeah. That'll work. And you guys know what the rules are, right? Got to add to 1. Because what happens if we don't add to 1? It means we multiply by something other than 1, which is a violation. Okay? So, say quarter 1, 2018. Who can tell me what I do for this? What do I do? So we know the weights are weight 1, 0.25. Yeah. So that's correct, but let's go ahead and get it in terms of the quarter and year. So if I'm going to get quarter 1, 2018, what am I going to use here? 0.25 times what cell? That's incorrect. I said quarter 1, 2018. Quarter 1, 2017 is 4 away from that. We're using a 3-period weighted moving average. So that's also incorrect. So quarter 4 is going to get the first weight applied to it. Okay. What about the second weight? It's 0.25. That was given. Like I said, the weights and alpha will always be given. What are we going to multiply the second one by? Quarter 3. And then lastly, what's our last weight here? Okay, so that's going to be multiplied, of course, by the third most recent. Who all answered that one? Just 2 people? Good deal. We'll pass that down to him. Thank you. You'll pass that down. Alright, and like I said, I'm not trying to, pick at anyone. I'm just making sure everyone understands. Because on the exam, I'll mark it wrong if it's wrong. I'll just leave it at that. Like I don't, enjoy marking stuff wrong. But if it's wrong, it's wrong. So try to be nice and fair. All right. Everyone clear on weighted moving average? Okay, someone throw me an alpha. So what is our alpha going to be? 0.7. Okay. You said it right. Pass it down, please. Thank you. Okay, so you'll be given the previous forecast. In this case, let's just go ahead and use the weighted moving average as a previous forecast. Is that cool with everyone? Okay, so what am I going to do to calculate simple exponential smoothing for quarter 1, 2018 with alpha 0.7? Who can tell me what I type in? Yeah. So not W2. W2 is the forecast value. The first thing we multiply alpha by is the previous observation. It's not cell W2 for the previous observation, it's the previous forecast. So X2 is not the right answer either. Okay, C2 is the right answer. And now what do we do? Yeah. Not C3. So you guys remember the formula for this, right? Alpha times xt minus 1, that's the previous observation, plus 1 minus alpha times previous forecast. So we'll put 1 minus alpha. You guys get that? Okay. So what's it going to be? Yeah. Then you get to W2. That's exactly, because that's a previous forecast. Does that make sense? So that's what we're doing with simple exponential smoothing. All right. Who all answered? We'll get it over to him. You'll pass that back, please. All right. Like I say, we'll definitely be covered on the exam, so make sure that you are aware of what it is. Anyone have any questions? Sure. Like I say, take your alpha, multiply it by the previous value, and then take 1 minus alpha, and you're going to multiply that by the previous forecast. And you add those two values together. Any questions? All right. We've got time. I think this class ends at 10 a.m. We've probably got time to go through one more monthly data example. Do you guys want to do that? I'll tell you what I'll do. Some people in here may be bored. They may want to go do other stuff. I'll go ahead and dismiss class, and if you want to stick around to watch one more example, you're free to. If you want to leave, no hard feelings at all. Is that cool? So take just like 1 minute if you want to leave. If you're pretty confident, you're not going to hurt my feelings at all. And like I said, I'll be posting this at the end of the day today, or possibly Friday, hopefully the end of the day though. So you're not going to hurt my feelings if you wander off. Totally fine. Okay. So I guess no one wants to take me up on that. That's totally okay as well. So product cost, someone throw me a number for a fixed cost. Literally any number works. 3 points on exam 3. Who hasn't answered yet? Okay, 6. So we've got average fixed cost of 6. So just come down here and say each month has fixed cost of $6. Pretty cheap, isn't it? I wonder what this could be. So, how do we calculate the product cost? What do we do? I want to get the marginal cost per product. We know we only have fixed costs of $6. What do I type in? Yeah. So type in what? So that's not really going to give us the marginal cost per product. We know that no matter how many we have, it's going to have a fixed cost of 6. That would be for variable cost. So I'll still give you credit for that because I don't know that I specified the marginal fixed cost. That wouldn't change it. That's exactly correct because for the marginal cost, if it's fixed, we know that no matter how much we sell, we always have a cost of 6. Does that make sense? So let's divide this guy right here. That gives us not very much money per unit. And of course, this is marginal. And, that's basically what we're doing. All right. Who can tell me how to calculate the sum by year? Yeah. So the sum range is going to be the count because that's how many we're doing. That's exactly right. You'll pass that down to him, please. Thank you. All right, and we're just going to copy this guy down. We will have to change the criteria on each. Just change it to 2 for year 2, and of course 3 for year 3. Okay, how do I calculate the average annual trend? Who can tell me how to do that? So average annual trend is telling me what percentage am I increasing each year. How can I calculate it? I'm sorry? No, it would not. So basically what we would do is we would take year 3 divided by year 1. Okay, subtract off 1 because we don't, it'll be a number greater than 100%. And then we divide by 2 because we changed from 2 years. So we went from year 1 to year 2, year 2 to year 3. And that gives us 14%. Is everyone clear on that? So on average, we're growing 14% a year. Okay, let's go ahead and do the average by month. So to answer your question, average ifs would be having the average where we have multiple conditions that must be true for it to be included in the average. Does that make sense? Okay, so average by month. How do I calculate that? Yeah. You said average if? Okay, it is average if. Now what do I type? What's the range going to be for this? That's not correct. So yeah, it's not going to be count because count is what we're going to use for the average range. The range is going to be where we're looking for the condition. Does that make sense? Okay, what are we going to put for the condition? J2, exactly. And then finally, the average range, of course, is going to be the count. All right. So just copy that down. Aren't absolute and relative references a great thing? I think they're pretty great. So How do I calculate grand total? Who can tell me that? Yeah. Uh-huh. So if I manually typed in January right here, I would. Instead, I used a relative reference to the cell, so when I copy that down, it's going to go to J2, J3, and so on. But if I'd manually typed in January, you're right, I would have to change it, and I would have to put it in quotes. All right, any other questions? All right, how do I calculate the grand total? Yeah. So the sum of the count column, which is just going to be column C, make sure I don't have anything else there. Okay, now I divide that by how many years I have, which in this case is 3 years. So just take this guy right here, divide it by 3. Okay, who can tell me how to calculate the seasonal constant? Go pass that down to him, please. How am I going to calculate the seasonal constant? Yeah. So divide the average by each month by, you said the grand total? So it's not divided by the grand total, you're close. What am I going to divide by instead? So the grand total divided by the number of years. Okay, because if we don't do that, like I say, it's going to not add to 1, and it will instead be added to something else. Question? You can use F4 on the keyboard. If you hit it over and over, it'll toggle between having it both the row and the column be constant. It'll just toggle through having the dollar sign in front of the row and the column. Any other questions? Okay. So let's go ahead and add in year 4. And how do I predict what year 4 will be using trend? How am I going to do this guy right here? Yeah, I called on you. So you're close, and I'm going to give it to you, but you'd multiply it by 1 plus. Yeah, so 1 plus, because it's in percentage. So if this were a decimal, it'd be 0.14, and you'd be multiplying by something, so it gets smaller. But you got it, I mean. So that's what you do there. Okay. Now, how do I predict the trend for each of the months? So I have what I expect the overall month to be. How am I going to calculate what I expect for year 4, which we don't have actual data for? How am I going to do this guy? Yeah. Uh-huh. Seasonal constant for each season. And you notice I went ahead and made the year 4, made that an absolute reference. So I can copy it down. That's exactly correct. Go pass that over to him, please. Okay. And who can tell me what value these numbers right here should add to? What value should these guys add to? If I were to just take the sum of these guys, how can I check my work? What value should this be? Sum of year 4, that's exactly correct. And they do match. You said it, right? I guess I can't pass that far. I am not a professional basketball player, so I don't have the reach to reach across the whole table there. Yeah, so they add up exactly. Question? So for year 4, what we're doing is we're taking year 3, the most recent year, we're multiplying by 1 plus the average annual trend. Does that make sense? Because we're saying we're increasing 14% a year, therefore we take a previous year and multiply it by 114%. Any other questions? All right, we've got time for a couple more forecasting. I'll leave it up to you guys. Which forecasting should we see, and what is the equation for it going to be? So who wants to go first? Like I said, you pick the problem here. So you want to see the most recent value. Which what do you want to see? January of 20 or year 4? Is that what you want to see? Okay, so what is that going to be equal to? January year 4. Exactly right. All right. Pass that down, please. All right. Who wants to see something and who thinks they know the right answer to it? What do you want to see? Okay. You guys want to use the same weights as last time, or you got your own weights? And what are you looking for? January of year 4, is that cool, or you want something else? Jan 4. And what is that going to be equal to? So we want the simple moving average for January year 4. What am I going to type? And this is weighted moving average, right? Oops, I got this in the wrong spot then. Won't be the last mistake I make. So what do I type for weighted? So we know the weights are going to be the same as last time, 0.25, 0.25, 0.5. 0.25 times. That's exactly correct. Now what do we do next? So I think you missed just a tiny little bit, and it's an important bit. What goes in between these two? Not a comma. Plus. Okay, now what? That's the second weight. November year 3. Okay, and now? Yep. 0.5 is the third weight. Times this guy. Make sure I did that right. Looks okay to me. That's exactly correct. All right, like I said, we got 4 more minutes. Who else has a problem they think they know the answer to it? Go pass that down to him, please. Yeah. Okay, what's your alpha? Okay. So what do you want to find? Which quarter and year? So January year 4. So January year 4. So we don't have January year 4. So that is correct. And now what? Yeah, so we'll just use this as the previous forecast. But on an exam, you'd be given the previous forecast. Does that make sense? So let's do that. That is how we do it. All right. Very good job. Yeah, give me just a second, guys. You got a question? Okay. What did you ask for? This guy? So like I say, take alpha, multiply it by the previous value, and then take 1 minus alpha, and you're multiplying that by the previous forecast value. Does that make sense? So you got one more question? Uh-huh. Jan Y4. So let's take the average of the 3 most recent observations to that, and that's exactly correct. Good job. Pass that down, please. All right, so that's about all the time we have today. I'm going to run down to office hour. I will be down there if you have any questions at all about anything we've covered. I'm happy to address them.